Welcome back to another installment of Sheep Rants, and today we're going to talk about humor. I think everybody can agree that this generation is becoming more sensitive, and whether or not that's a good or bad thing is up for debate, but I'm not wrong when I say people care more about what they say now and how can it affect people, and I for one think it could be a good thing a lot of the time, but with comedy I feel that's a different story. Like with edgy humor, I think it's fine if anybody wants to be offended by it or they don't like it, but what I think is really dumb is that if people make edgy jokes or offensive jokes, so many people on social media will automatically assume that it's a dog whistle, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically like signaling racist bad people. And another popular notion online I've seen is that if you make edgy jokes, that must mean you're purposely trying to offend or upset people, or maybe that you secretly believe in it. And morally, how do you defend this? Because on paper you'll just look like a shit person. But I think it's pretty unfair to brush anybody that makes edgy jokes with these assumptions, just because making these assumptions has become so popular and normalized. And I'm not denying that people can make offensive jokes because they have an ulterior motive, like they believe in it or they are dog whistling. But again, I don't think it's fair to brush everybody that makes these jokes into actually having some malicious intent. Like with influencers, comedians, YouTubers, when you're making edgy jokes with your friends that are comfortable with it, obviously there's no malicious intent, but it feels like nowadays tons of people on social media act like there must be malicious intent. No matter the context, no matter the circumstances, which I just disagree with. Whoever made the saying there's always a little bit of truth behind every joke is stupid as fuck, because that isn't the case. Because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can find offensive jokes funny without agreeing with it. That's kind of the appeal of jokes to me. It's because they're jokes, not serious. And you know, jokes can be serious, but obviously I'm talking circumstantially. But no, I guess if you make, for example, like a sexist joke, that means you don't care enough about women's issues, right? Even though it's just a joke. I for one like being treated with the bare minimum intelligence to know that if I see a comedian or a YouTuber make an edgy joke, I'm probably gonna assume based on the context that it's just a joke and that it's not worth getting offended over. But people just want to purposely get offended over things now and make things way bigger than it has to be. That, and why do we have to dumb things down for the really stupid people that can't tell if something's a joke or not? There's such a small minority. If that's the case, we should just stop saying the word fat, because I'm sure like way more people have gotten offended over being called fat than a 9/11 joke or a school shooting joke. Oh, but I'm the bad guy for saying that, right? And people are like, oh, why are you getting offended over people getting offended? And that's not what it is, because people will use them making edgy jokes as examples to how they're bad people, when really, I'm not gonna bullshit, but I've made edgy jokes that I don't believe in because I know they're jokes. And I think they're 20 times more funny than safe, inoffensive humor manufactured by either Minecraft YouTubers or whatever Twitter or YouTube or whatever big social media that wants a good image perpetuates so it looks like a good website. It's not even like a right-wing opinion like a lot of people act like it is. People are like, oh, that's such a conservative owning snowflake boomer opinion, but really it's just, I'm not gonna pretend to act like a good person and pretend I don't find it funny, because I do. I don't think it's funny because it's true. I think it's funny because it can be really creative or absurd. I'm not trying to be a contrarian or just a purposely edgy random douche, but I don't really think inoffensive, safe, absurd humor is that absurd. So I don't want to hear any of that. You don't need edgy humor to be absurd. To conclude, think for yourself, and for all those pricks that are just gonna say the obvious, yes, I know edgy humor is contextual, and you don't just say like a random edgy joke to some person you don't know. I don't want to see any of that straw man shit where you're like, yeah, but what about if you make a racist joke to a person of color? It's like, no shit, really? Here's your award for saying something super obvious that I shouldn't have to explain why it's bad, just to make you look like you have some smart ass rebuttal. Well, actually, if you make a 9/11 joke to a 9/11 victim. Not advocating for edgy humor either, and I think if you overdo it, it's super fucking annoying, and I think all those edgy jokes that are overdone aren't funny. Just my own personal opinion. I could say more to make myself look better, but if you know what I'm trying to say, you know that it's nothing bad, and it's just that basically context matters. That's it.